Hello there, you're following World News. I'm your host, Asina Rekti, and here's what's making the headlines. On the 97th day since the outbreak of the US Zionist war on Iran, US President Donald Trump said progress could be made in negotiations, while Iran's supreme leader warned against internal divisions. Meanwhile, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said regional calm would not be achieved unless Israel withdraws from occupied Lebanese territory. In Lebanon, hours after a ceasefire was announced, people were killed and injured in widespread airstrikes on southern villages and towns. President Joseph Aoun said the agreement could be the last chance, while Hezbollah said northern Israel would not be safe as long as Lebanese villages continue to be bombed. Algeria has officially launched construction work on its section of the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline project. Nigeria reaffirmed its full commitment to advancing the project, while the African officials praised Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboun's support for continental cooperation and South-South partnerships. Hello there and welcome back to the details of our program. First up in our news, US President Donald Trump on Wednesday suggested that progress in negotiations with Iran could be achieved within days. Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump said such progress was not guaranteed, but added that a breakthrough could come as early as the beginning of next week.
Because we took a strong action for a different reason. They were reciprocating. Yep.
Mr. President, can you explain why
the negotiation itself has gone very well, actually. Very well.
Mr. President,
it could happen. I mean, if it happens, and it might not happen, who knows? But if it happens, it could happen like over the weekend.
The US President also indicated that Washington would take possession of Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium under an agreement currently being discussed with Tehran, an issue that has been a major point of contention in the negotiations.
But as it stands now, we will go in sometime in the not too distant future. It's very safe down there. You know, we have, with Space Force, we have cameras. Every angle of those three sites are being watched at all times. If anybody went there, we'll see exactly what's happening, and we'll blow it up a little bit further. But as far as getting it, is the B-2 bombers did a job like nobody's ever seen. In the night, with no moon, dead darkness, at 1 o'clock in the morning or so, they dropped those bombs, the biggest, just about as big a bomb as you can ever find, and it went down air chutes. It was hard to believe that they can do the technology. It followed a beam right into the air chutes, right, exploded. Very hard to get that material, but I still nevertheless want it. And I don't want to do it if we're in conflict. I don't want to put men in that kind of danger. I remember Jimmy Carter had some bad problems in Iran with the hostages. I don't want to ever put our people in that kind of danger. But when it's over, as of this moment, it's agreed that we will go in with them. We will get it and we will destroy it. It will be destroyed.
Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Mujtaba Khamenei said Thursday that Iran's enemies, after failing on the battlefield, are now trying to weaken national unity and stir internal divisions. In a message read at a ceremony marking the death of Islamic Republic founder Ayatollah Ruhollah Khamenei, he urged unity and said that spreading pessimism or discouragement among the public amounts, in his view, to helping the enemy.
The malicious enemy, now that it has been defeated in its confrontation with your brave sons in the armed forces, and especially due to facing a decisive blow, both in military battle and in the streets, experiences deep and meaningful humiliation which has led to a tangible divergence of countries away from it. It has therefore concentrated its efforts in hybrid warfare on 2 points. One is the resilience of the people. The other is creating errors in the decision-making apparatus of the country's officials. Its main tool in both is sowing the seeds of doubt, despair, fear, mistrust, and division. Therefore, in confronting these hostile efforts, everyone must remain steadfast and vigilant, preserve unity, cohesion, and mutual trust, and refuse to play into the enemy's hands, so as to thwart its destructive designs.
Iran's Revolutionary Guard said the main demand in Lebanon is the withdrawal of Zionist forces to positions held before the recent escalation. Quds Force Commander Ismail Kani said supporting resistance in Lebanon is a duty and described ending Israel's presence in the region as an achievable goal. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that ending the war in Iran and Lebanon is interconnected, stressing that the fate of both countries in the conflict is linked. In an interview with Al Mayadeen on Wednesday, he said Tehran was prepared to respond if the Zionist entity carried out threats of a large-scale attack on Beirut's southern suburbs. He added that either the war stops in both countries or continues in both, arguing that the conflict between Iran and the US and the Zionist entity is tied to developments in Lebanon and includes all resistance fronts. The U.S. House of Representatives voted 215 to 208 to block President Donald Trump from continuing military action against Iran, with 4 Republicans joining Democrats. The measure would require congressional approval for war of force authorization and U.S. troop withdrawal otherwise, but it remains largely symbolic pending Senate approval. U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday criticized the House vote supporting the withdrawal of U.S. forces from the Iran conflict, calling it unpatriotic and saying it undermines negotiations with Tehran. In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump said the vote came during his final stage efforts to end the war with Iran.
Yesterday, in a meaningless vote, the House voted forbade Republicans and all of the Democrats to limit my war powers, right in the middle of my final negotiations to end the war with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Who would do such an unpatriotic thing? They know where the negotiations stand. The Democrats are fueled by Trump derangement syndrome. They would rather have our country fail than give me another of many victories.
A joint statement said Lebanon and the Zionist entity agreed on Wednesday to implement a ceasefire after talks in Washington aimed at ending the conflict that erupted alongside the Iran war. The U.S. issued statement said the truce is conditional on a full halt to fire from Hezbollah. It added that both sides agreed to further talks on political and security tracks in the week beginning June 22nd with the aim of reaching a comprehensive agreement. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun said the U.S. brokered ceasefire agreement between Lebanon and Israel could take effect within 24 hours of approval by all parties. Speaking on Thursday, he said responses from all sides were still being awaited, noting that negotiations were difficult and resumed after U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio intervened at the request of the Lebanese delegation to pause talks. Aoun added that the deal may be the last chance, warning that each side would bear responsibility if it fails. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun said Beirut has proposed establishing pilot zones in the towns of Zawtar al-Gharbiyeh and Zawtar al-Sharqiyeh, as well as around Beaufort Castle, to test compliance with the ceasefire before expanding it to other areas. He added that the Lebanese side will inform the United States once responses are received from the relevant domestic parties, particularly Hezbollah. Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam urged all parties to prioritize Lebanon's interests, saying those who reject the agreement would bear responsibility for the consequences. He said negotiations were not the only option available, but the best one, adding that talks do not rule out other parallel options. Hezbollah Secretary General Naim Qassem said the group's priority is a ceasefire and an end or an Israeli withdrawal, stressing that Lebanon's sovereignty should be the main objective. In a statement on Thursday marking the anniversary of Ayatollah Khamenei's death and recent political developments, he said occupation settlements would not be secure as long as Lebanese villages remain under attack, adding that the only solution is to stop what he called Zionist aggression against Lebanon.
We have not given any commitments to anyone not to resist the aggression or to respond to its aggression, and as long as the aggression continues, we will confront it with all the strength we have, and we will reach it wherever we decide and are able to. As long as our villages are not safe, being bombed and destroyed, and our people are being killed, the settlements will not be safe, and they will see our might and our strength.
Several Lebanese civilians were killed in two Zionist airstrikes targeting areas in southern Lebanon. The Lebanese National News Agency said on Thursday that the final toll from the strikes on the town of Sarmari in southern Lebanon was 5 dead and 4 wounded. Several people were killed in a Zionist airstrike targeting civilians in the Abbasiyeh area in southern Lebanon. The Lebanese National News Agency reported on Thursday that 3 people were killed in strikes on Abbasiyeh and the Tyre districts, while another airstrikes hit the town of Deir Antar in the Bint Jubail district. Zionist airstrikes hit several towns in southern Lebanon on Thursday, according to the Lebanese National News Agency. The strikes targeted the towns of Khoutariyet al-Riz, Nabatiyet al-Fawka, Zoutar, and Kfara in the Bint Jubail district. The agency added that the 2 waves of airstrikes also hit Mate Sabra Street and the town of Toul. Hezbollah said it targeted a gathering of Israeli vehicles and troops in southern Lebanon with rocket fire. In a statement on Thursday, the group said it launched rocket salvos at Israeli forces in the town of Al-Qantara, describing the attack as a response to a continued Zionist strikes on villages and towns in southern Lebanon. Hezbollah released video footage it said showed rocket attacks targeting Zionist troop and vehicle gatherings in the towns of Al-Qantara and Al-Taiba, as well as around the historic Beaufort Castle in southern Lebanon. The group said the operation took place on May 31st.
يلا يا زهراء يا صاحب الزمان يا
The EU has approved a €100 million aid package for the Lebanese army to strengthen its capabilities. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaya Kallas said the recent ceasefire offers a chance to prevent wider escalation, but ongoing clashes and the death of a UNIFIL soldier highlight its fragility. The new package brings total EU support to €182 million in recent years. At least 9 Palestinians were killed in a series of Zionist airstrikes early Thursday across the Gaza Strip. According to Palestinian Civil Defense, occupation warplanes struck 4 residential apartments in Gaza City, killing 8 people, including 5 members of the same family, and injuring others. In Khan Younis, in the south of the Strip, one Palestinian was killed and 4 others wounded when a Zionist drone struck a motorcycle near the Hadid building in the Al Mawasi area. Hamas said international inaction, including by the United Nations and guarantor states of the ceasefire, is encouraging Israel's continued attacks and what it described as efforts to resume genocide and forced displacement plans. In a statement on Thursday, the group said ongoing Zionist actions in Gaza require a stronger international response and urged ceasefire guarantors to assume their political and legal responsibilities to stop violations and hold Israel accountable for its actions in Gaza and the West Bank. Algeria, Nigeria and Niger on Thursday launched construction work on the Algerian section of the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline project in the Adrar region of southern Algeria. Algerian Energy Minister Mohamed Arkab said the project marks a historic step and is designed to transport 20 to 30 billion cubic meters of natural gas annually from Nigeria through Niger to Algeria and onward to regional and international markets.
إن إعطاء الإشارة الإطلاق الرسمي للأشغال إنجاز.
The official launch of work on the Algerian section of the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline marks a historic and significant milestone in the implementation of this strategic continental project linking Algeria, Niger and Nigeria. During yesterday's 5th ministerial meeting of the steering committee, we reached a joint agreement to adopt the results of the feasibility study conducted by PENSPEN and to move on to the project's next implementation phase, reflecting the strong political will of the 3 countries and their determination to carry this project through to completion.
Arkab also said the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline would be a key driver of economic and social development and an important factor in strengthening African energy integration.
نحن على يقين بأن مشروع أنبوب الغاز العابر للصحراء.
We're confident that the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline project will be a real driver of economic and social development, a source of wealth creation and job opportunities, and a key factor in strengthening African energy integration as well as regional and international energy security. Today, we're moving from the study and preparation phase to on-the-ground implementation, which confirms that this project has become a tangible reality and a strategic step towards a more integrated and prosperous African energy future.
Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ekperike Ekpo, reaffirmed his country's full commitment to advancing the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline project. He said Nigeria would do everything possible to ensure the success of the project, describing it as strategically important for the 3 countries and for the African continent.
I must say that I'm really impressed with what I have seen today. We accepted the feasibility studies yesterday as presented by PENSPEN. And because we are committed to doing it, we have decided that a work team be set up to review the feasibility study as presented. And as charged by the President of Algeria, he promised that he is going to take charge of the laying of the gas pipeline from here even to Kano. Today, we have witnessed the launch of that gas pipeline, indicating the preparedness of Algeria to the execution of this gas pipeline. This is where preparedness is met with opportunity. And as we said yesterday, Nigeria is committed to supplying the 100% of the gas into the gas pipeline.
Niger's Petroleum Minister Hamadou Tichiani said the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline is a regional and African project led by 3 countries that strengthens continental energy integration, describing it as one of Africa's most significant energy cooperation initiatives.
This is a regional project, it is an African project. For the first time, we are seeing a project of this scale being carried out jointly by 3 countries. It reflects an exceptional level of vision, cooperation, and action among our 3 nations. Yesterday, we were received by the President of Algeria, who urged us to work for the future. That is exactly what we're doing, and what we will continue to do for future generations. This is a historic project, and we will work together to make it reality. Thank you to the President of Algeria, and thank you for Algeria for its efforts to bring this project to fruition.
The energy ministers of Algeria, Nigeria and Niger praised Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboun's support for African cooperation and South-South partnerships, saying the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline reflects a shared vision for continental integration and sustainable development. They said the project demonstrates strong political will for an integrated African energy partnership, adding that moving into the implementation phase is a key milestone. They also highlighted that approving feasibility studies and advancing execution reflects strong coordination and commitment among the 3 countries. African Petroleum Producers Organization Secretary General Farid Ghazali said the African Energy Bank is expected to support regional refinery projects at the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline. He added that the pipeline could benefit from the bank's financing, noting that the new continental financial institution will prioritize regional and cross-border integration projects. African Petroleum Producers Organization Secretary General Farid Ghazali announced the launch of the African Energy Bank by the end of July, with Abuja set to host its headquarters. He said Algeria is among the first countries committed to establishing the bank, adding that it aims to address funding gaps in oil and gas projects in member states and support strategic projects free from external constraints. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune received Syrian Foreign Minister Asad al-Shibani and his accompanying delegation. According to a presidential statement on Thursday, the meeting was attended by senior Algerian officials, including ministers and the president's diplomatic advisor and intelligence officials. After being received by Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, Syrian Foreign Minister Asad al-Shibani said the talks focused on the deep historical ties between Algeria and Syria and ways to enhance cooperation in energy, investment and other areas of mutual interest.
We were honored to meet with His Excellency the President of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, Abdelmadjid Tebboune. We emphasized during the meeting the importance of the historic and deep-rooted Syrian-Algerian relations, and I conveyed to His Excellency the greetings, thanks and respect of His Excellency President Ahmed al-Shara. We also stressed the need to enhance these relations to include key sectors such as energy, economy, security and investment. Our meeting was outstanding, full of affection and respect, and we sensed from the Algerian side and His Excellency the President a special interest in the importance of Syria and its current experience, as well as the support for the political process adopted by Syria.
Algerian Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf and Syrian Foreign Minister Asad al-Shibani agreed to revive bilateral cooperation mechanisms, including joint committees and a business council, and to form sectoral working groups in key areas such as energy, agriculture, mining, transport and training. According to Algeria's Foreign Ministry, the 2 sides reviewed bilateral relations and ways to develop them further, highlighting the strong historical ties between Algeria and Syria. Algerian minister delegate to the Minister of National Defense and Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, General Saeed Chengriha, concluded a 4-day official visit to Oman. On Thursday, he was seen off at Sib Air Base in Muscat by Oman's Chief of Staff of the Sultan's Armed Forces, Vice Admiral Abdullah bin Khamis al-Raisi, along with Algeria's ambassador and embassy officials, according to the Algerian Ministry of National Defense. Algerian Council of the Nation President Azouz Nasri signed a condolence book at the Yemeni embassy in Algiers following the death of former Yemeni President Abderrabbu Mansour Hadi. He expressed sorrow over Hadi's death, noting his role in leading Yemen through a difficult period and serving under complex circumstances. China warned that a visit by some New Zealand lawmakers to Taiwan violates the One China principle and crosses a political red line. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said on Thursday that the lawmakers' trip to Taipei constitutes interference in China's internal affairs, adding that Beijing will take measures against those involved, including banning them from entering China. Reuters reported that Russian President Vladimir Putin said Russia is ready to achieve its objectives in Ukraine militarily if necessary, while remaining open to a diplomatic settlement. Speaking at an economic forum, he said any agreement could reflect understandings he claimed were reached with US President Donald Trump. He also reiterated Moscow's demand for Ukraine to withdraw from the parts of Donbass still under its control as a condition for ending the war. That's the end of our news for tonight. To catch up on any part you missed or get the latest updates, you can visit our social media platforms, and up next, our special coverage program.